In this episode, we are going to be tech-exposing the Deebo and Joe show. I'm scared already. If you don't know who James Harrison is, you are definitely not a football fan, but I'm going to introduce you to why you should pay attention to his podcast setup alongside Joe Haden. Now, we're going to get into this, but I want to show you a little clip, just a little clip, so you can understand what we're dealing with.
But whatever it is, because we got everything y'all need, man. Listen, and what you ain't looking for, you gonna be looking for it then.
Scribe or Deebo gonna whoop your ass.
So let's go ahead and jump into their setup. Now, I've been following this show ever since they were just below 5,000 subscribers. Now, I'm a big fan of both of these guys. Joe Haden actually grew up in my local area. And James Harrison, if you're not familiar with his story to how he got to the NFL and actually became one of the legends of the game, you definitely should follow that. Now, they do a virtual style podcast. Usually it's those two gentlemen together every single time they show up. So when we look at this, know that this is a virtual based podcast setup. So if you want to do a podcast with another person, this is going to be a great illustration of how you can actually make this look good. Now let's first start off by looking at the visuals. Here we can see they are on brand. This specific episode released right after the Steelers actually won their last regular season game of the year. So as you can see here, they're both outfitted in apparel that matches Steelers colors. Both of them played for the Steelers organization. That's why this is important. They're on brand. So whenever you're showing up online and you want to create a really good looking show, being on brand is really important. So they are definitely on brand, rocking their colors, rocking the towels. They are comfortable. And I think a lot of us, when we try to podcast, sometimes we create this illusion of what we are not. They are comfortable. You can see Joe Haden here on the right. He's actually wearing a hoodie, right? He's actually wearing a hoodie. And James Harrison over here, also known as Deebo, is wearing a hat. So they are comfortable showing up in who they are on their podcast. Now, they have some credibility, obviously, former NFL athletes. People know who they are already, but you can still pull this off if it's on brand for you. Now, if we look here at the graphics of the actual show itself, what I like about here is that these graphics are nice and crisp. They're well done. It looks like a professional actually did these graphics with the lower third at the bottom that says Steelers beat Ravens 26-24. And one thing to always keep in mind with on-screen graphics is they need to be visible. They need to be readable. We don't need to be squinting or trying to figure out the little colorful font or cursive type of font that you want to use. Make it so we can actually read what is on screen. So along with having it on screen here at the bottom in the lower third, we also have our text up at the top corner. So in the top right hand corner here, we have the Deebo and Joe branding. So that's for their actual show. And on, or top left rather, over there, and then top right here, they're also part of that Club Shay Shay brand. So there is a team behind them. They're not a solo podcast. They definitely have an affiliation that allows resources to be allocated across multiple different channels. So in this case, I'm sure part of that Team Shay Shay brand is actually providing the graphics and some other essentials for creating this podcast. So we actually see two brands up at the top right for that sponsorship slot, right? So when you're positioning your camera, just think about, hey, I want to leave a little bit of space where I can put a sponsor logo. You don't want all the space filled up where you can't easily place a logo in your video. So good example of that right here. And then obviously going around the outside border of the show here, you have that blue and gold trim going all the way around the outside of it, and then even that gold splitting down the middle. So really nice branding look when you show up. And when you create a graphic like this, you know, you can do this in programs like Ecamm or Riverside. It makes it a one-time thing that you have to do, and you can use it repeatedly over and over and over again. So create it good once and then just go with it. You'll be set for a while, right? So unless you want to change up your brand, you'll be good to go for a while here. Here's an example of it off screen. So again, you can see what we have here is really clean, good look. Now, if we take a look at what we can't see really is the lighting and the camera quality. Because I haven't been able to find exactly what they're using, any behind the scenes footage, what I do want to bring your attention to though is the framing that they're using. Now, obviously, the quality of the video is really good here. They're only streaming this in 1080p or uploading this in 1080p, but it really looks like they're using a 4K camera and just upscaling it or downscaling it rather to 1080p. I think they really do have the potential to go 4K if they really wanted to. It really comes down to what does that production look like in the back end to get these videos up fast, because they create a lot of content out of their long form content. They live stream their show and then take elements of that live stream and put it back online for short form content or shorter clips, if you will. So you do have that capability. 1080p is going to allow you to just do it a lot faster, right? But if you're using a 4K camera and doing it at 1080p, you're still going to have really good quality versus doing 1080p and then doing 720. Then you don't look as good, right? So you want to stay on brand with the quality if you want that to accomplish that goal. So camera, we don't really see it. Lighting, we don't really see it, but we see the results of it. Now, looking at the framing of this, I'm going to go back towards the beginning here a little bit when Joe is sitting up. This is what I'm talking about. Making sure that you're in position. They're using half the screen each, right? So you got Deebo on the left, you got Joe on the right. So they're using half the screen. You want to make sure that you position yourself where it makes sense. So when you're doing the split screen, you actually can see both individuals. And also making sure that your camera distance away from where you're going to be sitting is actually similar. Sometimes we have people sitting too far away or too up front, or you got a lot of headspace up above. These guys are doing it really good, right? Look where his head is compared to the top of the frame here, right? Not a lot of space, not a lot of unused space. And they're pretty much even. That is really what you want when you're having a 2-person or even 3 or 4 or 5. You want people to sit and position their camera where it makes sense to look good visually. Like if everybody was sitting to one side of the camera or the other, it just wouldn't look aesthetically pleasing. And then again, being centered, right down the middle, Joe right down the middle, Deebo right down the middle. It looks pretty doggone good in my opinion. All right. So let's jump over to the audio side of this, because I really think you should listen to it. One, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe like I am right now. Go ahead and click that button and you can see subscribe there. We can subscribe there to Nightcap. We'll talk about those new YouTube updates in the future videos if you guys are interested in more the strategies behind uploading content and podcasts on YouTube. But I want to go to another clip, because in this clip here, we notice that we cannot see the microphone that James Harrison is actually using, but we can see it over here on Joe's screen. So the microphone that Joe is using is the Shure MV7 Plus. And what I like about the Shure MV7 Plus is that it's a Shure microphone, so that just automatically means quality. Now, the MV7 also has the ability to put the different light, if you will, or LED light on right underneath where the microphone itself is. So you can change the color of that in the app. So if they really, really, really wanted to be on brand, you could actually change that from green to yellow. So think of the color that makes the most sense for you, or you can just leave the default green, like is on the boom arm here, the default Shure green, as your LED color. But when we take a look at another clip from earlier, like I showed at the intro here, we can see that Deebo is actually using the same microphone as well. So let's go all the way back here to the beginning, right there. So we see he's using the same microphone as well. And that's another thing. It is this level of consistency across both individuals. Both parties are actually using the same microphone. Both parties are sitting in the good same position. I would not be surprised if they're using the same camera. It just makes the level of production that much better. And if you're forward thinking about maybe potentially getting your show on a streaming platform, I know Netflix is bringing creators onto their platform for podcasts. You know, that is something to consider, is that level of quality throughout. Now, this is an older clip here, so you'll notice that in that top right, there's only one uh, sponsored brand icon up there. But take a look at the background here. We won't spend too much time here, but being a Super Bowl champion, you got the Super Bowl trophies back here. You got the hats. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers helmet that he played for. Football, all of this stuff is just on brand of who he is. Even the chair is on brand with the black and yellow in the background here, right? The shirt, black with the yellow. So everything is on brand. And it does look like we have an iPad sitting here as well. And this could probably be for show notes to stay on track, because they also live stream, like I mentioned earlier. It could just be for looking at the comments if they want to actually speak to certain comments on screen. So microphones quality top notch, camera quality top notch, lighting is pretty good as well for this show. So overall, I really like what they have going on from a quality standpoint for virtual podcasts of two individuals, right? Perfect example that we have not seen yet. So if you are interested, I'll leave a link to these two show clips that I pulled for you in the description. And if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and let me know, who should we tech expose next? I'll see you in the next episode.